The political landscape in Nepal has once again plunged into chaos as shocking images and videos circulate worldwide, showing the former prime minister being violently dragged from his home and beaten by an angry crowd. This unprecedented incident has sent shockwaves throughout the nation and beyond, raising serious concerns about political stability, freedom of expression, and the escalating unrest gripping the Himalayan country. To fully grasp the gravity of what unfolded, it's crucial to understand the context behind the protests, the reasons behind the controversial social media ban, and the broader implications this event could have on Nepal's fragile democracy. Nepal, a country nestled between two giants, India and China, has long struggled with political instability. The nation has seen numerous changes in leadership over the past decades, from monarchy to republic, and shifting alliances within its multi-party system. But in recent months, tensions have intensified dramatically, fueled by government decisions that many citizens view as authoritarian and suppressive. The center of this turmoil is the recent move by Nepal's government to impose a sweeping ban on certain social media platforms. This ban, which targeted popular sites used by millions of Nepalese people, was justified by the authorities as a necessary step to curb misinformation and maintain public order. However, critics argue that this is nothing more than an attempt to stifle dissent and control the flow of information ahead of upcoming elections. The social media blackout quickly ignited fierce backlash. Protests erupted across various cities, with thousands taking to the streets demanding the ban's immediate repeal. Citizens, activists, journalists, and opposition politicians all voiced their outrage, accusing the government of undermining democratic freedoms and violating the right to free speech. Amid this charged atmosphere, the former prime minister, who had been a vocal critic of the current administration's policies, became a lightning rod for public anger. The ex-PM had openly condemned the social media ban, calling it an affront to democracy and warning it would lead to greater unrest. Then came the shocking day when protesters stormed the ex-PM's residence. What began as a demonstration escalated into a violent confrontation. Videos captured the harrowing moment when the former leader was forcibly dragged from his home by a mob. Reports indicate he was beaten brutally before authorities intervened. The images of this assault have been shared widely across international news platforms, igniting widespread condemnation. This act of violence against a former head of government is unprecedented in Nepal's recent history and raises many questions about the country's political climate and the rule of law. Why did the situation deteriorate to such an extreme? What does this say about the divisions within Nepali society? And how will this affect the nation's democratic future? Experts suggest that the incident reflects a deeply polarized political environment. The social media ban, while ostensibly a security measure, symbolized a broader crackdown on civil liberties. For many Nepalese citizens, the ban felt like a betrayal of their democratic rights. The ex-PM's outspoken opposition made him a target for those who saw him either as a symbol of resistance or, controversially, as a scapegoat for the country's problems. The government has since condemned the attack, promising a full investigation and pledging to hold those responsible accountable. However, critics remain skeptical, fearing that the authorities may not act impartially given the political stakes involved. Human rights organizations have also stepped in, calling on Nepal's government to protect freedom of expression and ensure the safety of all political figures, past and present. They warn that such incidents of political violence could spiral further, destabilizing the country at a time when it can least afford it. International reactions have been swift. Several countries and global bodies have expressed concern over the assault on Nepal's former prime minister and the underlying issues that led to such violence. Calls for dialogue and peaceful resolution have echoed from New Delhi to Washington, as neighboring nations watch closely how this crisis unfolds. Digging deeper into the roots of the protests, it becomes clear that the social media ban was just the spark in a tinderbox of discontent. Nepalese youth, who make up a significant portion of the population, rely heavily on digital platforms not only for social interaction but also for political engagement and activism. Cutting off access has alienated many and fueled a sense of injustice. The ban's timing is also significant. With national elections approaching, the ruling party appears eager to control the narrative and limit criticism. Opposition groups argue that this undermines free and fair electoral processes and question the government's commitment to democracy. Moreover, the economic backdrop cannot be ignored. Nepal is still recovering from the devastating 2015 earthquake, grappling with poverty and unemployment, and facing the global economic shocks caused by the pandemic. These challenges have exacerbated public frustrations, creating fertile ground for protests to escalate. The violent incident involving the XPM is therefore both a symptom and a catalyst. It exposes how political polarization and social grievances have reached a boiling point. It also threatens to deepen divisions, making reconciliation and dialogue even more difficult. As Nepal stands at this critical juncture, many voices within the country are calling for calm and unity. Political leaders from various factions have urged restraint and dialogue to prevent further bloodshed. Civil society groups emphasize the importance of protecting democratic institutions and promoting inclusive governance. Meanwhile, the ex-prime minister's condition following the attack has become a focal point of concern. Medical reports suggest that while he sustained injuries, he is stable and receiving care. His political future, however, remains uncertain. Will he continue to oppose the government's policies from a place of strength, or will this violent encounter silence him? The answer to this question could influence Nepal's political trajectory in the months to come. Looking ahead, the government faces significant pressure to reassess its approach to social media regulation. Balancing national security with democratic freedoms is a delicate task, but one that Nepal must navigate carefully. Heavy-handed tactics risk alienating citizens and provoking further unrest. At the same time, opposition parties must seize the opportunity to present constructive alternatives and engage with citizens' concerns. Political violence, such as the attack on the XPM, undermines democratic processes and must be condemned unequivocally. Nepal's media, both traditional and digital, also plays a critical role in shaping public perception. Responsible reporting and fact-checking are essential to counter misinformation, which can inflame tensions. Independent journalism needs protection and support, especially when political pressures mount. International partners have a role to play as well. Support for democratic institutions, human rights, and conflict resolution can help Nepal find a peaceful path forward. Diplomatic engagement should focus on fostering dialogue between the government, opposition, and civil society. In conclusion, the shocking moment when Nepal's ex-prime minister was dragged from his home and beaten is a stark reminder of the fragility of democracy in times of political crisis. It underscores the dangers of suppressing free expression and the urgent need for political dialogue and respect for human rights. As Nepal navigates this turbulent period, the world watches closely. The hope is that from this dark episode, a renewed commitment to democracy, justice, and unity will emerge. Only through inclusive governance, respect for civil liberties, and peaceful engagement can Nepal ensure a stable and prosperous future for its people.